Kathy Davis, and I'm here to talk to you today about the full moon. I am not a moon expert. I have not studied the moon for years and years like many people, but I have followed the moon and started living my life according to moon cycles in terms of manifesting things that I want to have in my life for about a year and a half now. And I've really seen some differences in my own personal energy and in the energy of the things that I create. So I've started sharing these this summer as tips, as ideas. There are lots of resources on the internet, lots of resources on Pinterest, lots of great people to follow if you want more information, and I'm happy to share that. But today I just wanted to share a few of the little tips that I've picked up and some of the small processes that I follow. I would not self-identify myself as doing this in any way of form of magic. This is definitely using the law of attraction and combining that with the natural force of the full moon energy. Now, I think we all know that legend tells us that, the full moon is when the werewolves come out. That's when energy is at the fullest. You hear that's when the ERs are crazy. That's when people do a lot of violent and crazy things. And if you start to pay attention, you realize that there are forces of energy that kind of come and rise around the time of the full moon. I noticed it a lot in my life. I know I've noticed especially this week, this moon cycle, I've been really tracking. There's been a lot of activity, a lot of stuff just churning in my life, and that's been awesome. It's been awesome. But I can also see that it's definitely attributed to the full moon that has started 6:53 this morning Eastern time is what I believe the official time was. So full moon energy is usually around for about a day before the full moon, definitely for the day of the moon itself, and then around for the day or two after. So in this 24-hour period that we're in right now, this is when the energy is at the fullest, and we can use that energy to help create some of the things that we want to see in our lives. So what I did this morning, and I'm going to share some of that process with you and some of the things that I did, is go through a very short just revisiting of my intentions that I set at the new moon, and then releasing some things and really focusing my energies for what I want to see happen in my life in the next two and a half weeks until the new moon. And so the first step of what I did was I kind of gathered some supplies. So for me, when I do any kind of ritual, especially with the moon, I pull together things like white candles. I pull together some of my favorite crystals. Today, because I knew kind of what I was pulling in and the ideas that were important in my life, I pulled together some of my favorite things. So you'll see in front of me my sunflower. I have this really lovely stone that I picked up a couple years ago at a crystal shop that says Abundance. Pulled out some of my favorite candle holders to put my candles in, and then because I know that as a parent, August is a very expensive month, and so I'm well aware of the fact that I want to bring in some extra money this month. I put the lucky penny that I found earlier this week, and I just put it right here. And this, if you're curious, is what I use. It's the top of an old jewelry box that has since broken off, and I use it as my altar. So it sits in my bedroom, and I put items of faith. I put things that I'm trying to draw into my life. I put pretty flowers and candles, and it's kind of where I put my space to draw stuff into my life that is important to me. And it's close to my bed, so I get a look at it in the morning and I get a look at it at night. Having that kind of sacred space in your home is important, and I want to be very clear that it's not a pagan altar. It's definitely an altar to bring in the beauty and the love, and it's an honor in my heart to God and to the beautiful, beautiful things that God has brought into my life. So what did I do after I pulled all my supplies together? I sat down, I got out a piece of paper, and I ripped it in half, and then I ripped half of it in thirds. And on the thirds, I wrote release intend, and create. And so on release, I wrote 5 or 6 things that I want to let go of. Things that are not serving me in my life, thought patterns that aren't, that were created for a reason, were created to protect myself, but that really do need to go. Habits, things that just aren't serving me. And then on my intention, interestingly enough, I had looked back at my new moon intention. And this month, for whatever reason, instead of writing out a laundry list of things that I had wanted to create in my life, I had just written simple intentions that I wanted to live a life of simple abundance, full of little luxuries like fresh flowers, awesome coffee, great dark chocolate, that I wanted to have certain core desired feelings like connection and confidence and desire to live the life I have, to feel desired by important people in my life, that I wanted to feel nourished. I wanted to feel like I was eating nourishing food and doing nourishing activities for my body, mind, and spirit. And so all of those things were on my new moon intention list, along with a few others. And so I reviewed those, and I actually just wrote out my intention again, my intention for this moon, the things I wanted to see happen in my life. And then I wrote create. And on create, I got really specific. I wrote down how many clients I want to see come into my coaching program that I'm starting this month. I wrote down how much money I want to see in my bank account. I wrote down, those were the big things. I wrote down some other specific things that I want to see happen. I'm getting ready to launch a podcast, and I've talked about it, and I've said I'm going to do it in August. Well, I'm going to do it before that new moon starts. It's time to get off of go and start going in my life and start doing things. And so I wrote down that laundry list this time at the full moon. Now, there's lots of things people say you can do with those lists. You can throw them in an envelope and plop them under your bed or plop them under your pillow. I've done that. You can, tuck them in your journal and revisit them later. You can burn them outside in a ritual. What I actually did was burn them inside because I don't have a very good outside space for that. So I burned them in the bathroom and I read them out loud. So I read the list, which was, I intend to release the fear of not being good enough. And I read the list and I asked God for help to help me release that fear. And then I read the list of what I wanted to, and then I burned the list. Okay. And then I read the list of what I wanted to intend in my life, how I wanted my life to feel. And then I asked God and my angels for help to create that sense of life in my life. And then I read the list out loud of what I wanted to create and why. Why did I want to make money? Why did I want to serve clients? And I asked for help in creating that in my life. And so burned those lists, said a prayer, said a thank you, came out, lit my candles, and said my prayers again, honestly. So I've said them twice. Asked for certain things to come in my life. And then I let it go. I walked away, and I'm having a good day.